heaven. He said, you couldn't have learned this through a carnal ear. This had to come from the Father himself. Peter was getting direct communication from the Father before the day of Pentecost. Peter answered the test. He shocked Jesus. Jesus said, what? Jesus said, I haven't taught on that. I've taught you the kingdom of heaven. I've taught you about the power of God. I've talked to you about eschatology. I haven't taught you that. Flesh and blood have not revealed this unto you. You got direct communication with the Father. And upon this rock, I will build my church. I will build my church on the backs of men who can hear from God. And the gates of hell shall not prevail against my church. Because every time the devil thinks he's got the church cornered, I'm going to whisper something in somebody's ear that makes him able to escape the tactics of the devil. Every time you're at your wit's end, I'm going to speak to you while you're washing dishes or driving down the road, a word that liberates your soul. Upon this rock, I will build my church. The gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Now, Peter did some crazy stuff. He did. He cut off some people's ears and stuff, you know. I like him, though. I like guys who will make a decision. Bless God, people say, I'm going to kill you. That's why I'm going to do it. I'm going to kill you. Yeah. Yeah. I'd rather have to put a few ears back on than to be surrounded by a bunch of deadbeats who can't make up their mind what they're going to do. I like Peter. And he had some weaknesses, you know. He cut off some ears, and then when Jesus was about to be crucified, you know, the Bible says he got to cussing a little bit. He had some problems. I think it's important that we discuss his weaknesses and his strengths, because if we only talk about people's strengths, it will intimidate you. What you need to know is that God uses ordinary people. So we got a few dead ears and a little cussing problem that we had to overcome, but you're still going to be used. Because you got one thing going for you, Peter. You can hear from God. Now, you know, Peter, after he denied the Lord and said he didn't know him 3 times, and then he got to cussing to convince the girl that he didn't know him. And then he felt real bad because Jesus got crucified, and he walked away from everybody. And when Jesus rose from the dead, he told them to go get the disciples and Peter. Peter was the only one he called by name. Even though he had weaknesses, even though he had problems, he said, be sure that you get the disciples and Peter. Why does he want Peter? Because Peter can hear from God. There are some people in this room, you cut off some ears, you've spoken out of turn, you haven't totally walked upright. There's been some times you made some mistakes, and maybe you feel unworthy, and you're hiding in a corner like Peter, and you think your life is all washed up. But I got news for you. God knows your name. He's got a plan for your life. And he sent me here to tell the rest of the disciples and you that he's going to use you. Not because you're perfect, not because you always do everything right, but he's going to use you in spite of all of that, because you can hear from God. Clap your hands and give him praise.